Yo, what's good? It's your boy Low, man, and we are back for another video. I'm jumping on here, man, to cover a couple of questions that I've been getting about how to start a podcast. Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna give a quick summarize, couple of tips that can get you started. I've kind of addressed this in the past, but I see now I'm going to need to do more of an extensive class or course that you'll be able to get on my website coming soon about walking you through all of the steps that it takes for you to get into starting your own podcast. So what I figured I would do today is tell you how you can start. If you wanted to tonight, tomorrow, this weekend, if you want to start a podcast, the number one thing you got to know is what is your content going to be. A lot of people say, oh man, I got this great idea for a podcast, but then you don't realize, like, you need to figure out how many times you're going to do it. How many shows are you going to do 2 or 3 shows a week? Are you going to do once a week? Are you going to do twice a month? You got to know what your vision is for your podcast before you jump out there. Now, I have produced podcasts for all kinds of people. One of my favorite clients is Dr. Cheryl Woods. If you haven't checked out Dr. Cheryl Woods, check her out. She's done TED Talks. She spoke on all kind of stages. And she is mainly in women empowerment. So Dr. Cheryl came to me and she said, Lo, I want you to help me produce this podcast that she had an idea for. And when we first got into it, one of the things I always ask my clients is, what do you want the outcome to be? When somebody ingests or interacts with your platform, with your products, what do you want them to do, right? So when you look at that, let's say my wife wanted to start a new podcast on helping moms figure out what to cook for their families in a short amount of time, right? So that could be her thing. Quick, easy meals for moms. And she may say, well, I think I can do, 1 podcast a week. Now, that could be audio. That could be video. That could be audio and video. We can talk about that in a minute. But for the most part, what you got to do is know what that final thing looks like. And because of that, once you start taking into consideration what that means, you will be able to start to figure out your workload, because you got to prep shows. If you're going to have guests, you got to be able to schedule guests in advance so you will know exactly what those guests and what those time slots are going to look like. I just did my podcast Saturday, and my guests only had 30 to 45 minutes to be on the show. So when they schedule when I scheduled that call or that podcast with him, I had to make sure that I had all of my things in a row to fit that time schedule, because a lot of times when people are guests on your show and they have a lot of things going on, you got to be able to stay within the constraints of what your show or what they schedule allows. So before you go buy any equipment, before you even get to that side of it, you got to map out like everything on paper, what your show is going to be about. A lot of times people just start and they jump out and with podcasts, and then they don't think about the cost. If you're going to invest in equipment, if you're going to invest in a website or hosting of different things, and yes, there are a ton of free options, and I'm going to give you those tips in a minute. But before you get into all that, you got to know that if you're doing an audio-based podcast, the number one thing you got to ensure is that your audio is clear and people can listen to it without a bunch of noise and distractions. So a lot of times people will jump out there and they'll try to buy the cheapest thing on Amazon because you really aren't wanting to fully go into investing in this idea, mainly because you're just flying by the seat of your pants. Let's just keep it real. A lot of times we get great ideas and then we don't fully look at them from a business standpoint. When if you do that, even if you start small, you can say, hey, I have $200 to allot to my podcast this month or the next couple months, right? With that $200, you got to find out what's the best way for you to get a product out to your fans or your platform, right? So when you start making those decisions, when you start getting your ideas, your concept, your business side of it, if you know what your budget is, what you can invest, that's when you can start producing a podcast. Now, a lot of times I have a coworker who is also in the works of launching her podcast, and she was asking me these same questions. And a lot of people, and let me stop right here and say this. I love that people are getting into creating content and telling their stories, because everybody in this world is unique. Your experiences are your experiences. Your joys are your joys. Your pains are your pains. And what excites you or what you find yourself passionate about, somebody else will want to partake. It may not be 1,000 people. It may be 500 people. It could be 10,000 people. It doesn't matter. Regardless of what your audience ends up being, those people will still come around and grow with you. So when you're looking at your audience, when you're looking at the things that you're developing for, you want to make sure that you have relevant content, because it's cool to start out with a few 2 or 3 topics. But once you start a podcast, you got to know that you got to keep rinsing and repeating, which means that you got to have something fresh and something new for them to experience every time you get behind the mic. So once you get into starting a podcast, don't flake out on the pre-production. That's all of your planning, your business. What do you have to invest in it? Are you going to have a co-host? Are you going to, like I said, are you going to have guests? Are you going to have video, audio? Are you going to put it on how many platforms you want to put it on? Are you trying to get sponsorship? Because when you're doing a podcast, one way to pay for it or to generate money from your podcast is to have sponsors. Normally, you want to have a sponsor that has something in common with your audience. So let's go back to my example. If my wife, when I produce things for my wife, what I tend to do is to look at the thing we're producing and what she's wanting to address. And then I look at who could this be attractive to. So a lot of times what we end up doing is partnering with vendors or businesses per se that want to have their products in front of her audience. Now, she is also into women empowerment, and has a good following. So in that, she can have, let's say somebody may say, girl, I got some lip gloss. I have some t-shirts. I have a working or business course for women who want to get into speaking or whatever the case is. When they come to us or when we start the conversations, we're looking at who fits this picture, who fits this event that we're going over or trying to produce. And then you exchange whatever costs you agree upon to help you produce that platform. And that's how you should go into your podcast. Always be thinking, how can my creation become self-sustainable? That means, how can it not cost you going into your money, your paycheck, your bank account? You want to develop this thing where it is established on its own. Now, if you're still with me and you're listening at this point, you notice I haven't even talked gear yet. Like, we haven't even got to, what kind of equipment. And I'm going to walk you through my setup, what I have found to be a beautiful piece of equipment and tool for me. Hey, Nita. I'm also live on IG for y'all. Y'all see me looking over here. Hey, Nita. Good to see you. So when you are doing this with your podcast, always be thinking about, how can I make money from this? Now, money doesn't have to be the only thing driving you, because if money is the only thing driving you, the content is going to suffer. What you want to do is make sure that you know exactly who your audience is, what you want to teach them or inform them on, and then build upon that. So, like with me, I'm a producer. Most of the content I create is around film, production, or I'm creating content with other people, right? So when you come here, you're going to learn something about those things, or you're going to see me producing something around those things, and you're going to see me start to build something that's leading to a business format. Like, this is going to be a teaser for the course curriculum that I'm doing. You could do the same thing. Matter of fact, I'm glad Nita, who is an awesome poet, is on my IG live. Nita, if I was producing Nita, I would say Nita is an awesome poet. How many people want to be an awesome poet? Right? So when you say, hey, I want to be an awesome poet, how can I learn? I need to go listen to someone who's good at poetry. So Nita could start a podcast that just teaches how to learn how to write poetry, how to improve, how to build your skill set in poetry. Then she could partner with other people that deal with things that poetry entails. She may find somebody that says, hey, I have candles. I have things that could help you as a poet while you're writing. It could be a tablet company, business. It could be somebody with a t-shirt company who has things that, t-shirts that speak to poets, or maybe your designs are around poetry. Could be snaps on it, which, poets get. All of those type of things are things that she could now partner with those businesses and create a platform that she could grow through a podcast. Now, it goes through anything along those lines. Now, once you start to get where you have some people, and listen to this, the thing that I find to be best when it comes to sponsorships is to be practical. So if you're launching a podcast and you really don't have a very big audience, maybe what you want to do is have an incentivized agreement, which means that I'll promote your business on my podcast, right, for $50 a month. Now, I will do no less than 4 podcasts. So, excuse me, in theory, you're only paying about $10 to $12 a show. Now, once you start to see income come back and people start to call you, or they use my promo code from my podcast and you see that I'm growing your business, then after 2 months or after a certain sales amount, we can renegotiate the terms of our agreement, because now I'm growing, you're growing, and the partnership should grow together. Those are some steps that you can do. A lot of times people jump out and they want to tell people, oh man, you got to pay me $100 an episode. But what is the value I'm getting back as a business when it comes to that thing on your platform? So let's be realistic in growing these things. Podcasting is one of the most listened to forums right now. That's why you see major companies buying. Spotify went heavy into podcasting. iHeartRadio just went into podcasting. Apple Music. All these major platforms are gravitating to podcasting because it's the most growing and fastest growing medium that we have right now. Video is great, but a lot of times people are moving, and now with AirPods and Bluetooth listening, they can just listen to podcasts as they work and not disturb their coworkers. They can work out and listen to it. So you want to get your piece of that pie. And that's why we're talking about podcasting tonight. Now, I see Mac is on the IG. Hey, Mac. I see you, Nita. I use you as an example, but we'll talk. You could definitely do that idea. Now, let me see. Hold on. Let me check. I don't want to leave Facebook out. Hey, Tam. I see Tam is in the house. Jacqueline, I see y'all. How y'all doing? Good to see you. And, yeah, man. So getting back to what we're building and what we're doing. When you get into these platforms, and the gear, honestly, is the least part of this picture. Like you can do a lot of things to develop businesses outside of, just having to go to work and do a 9-to-5. Like there are tons of people that are looking to speak on platforms. They're looking to grow their audience. And if you have a platform where you can offer that type of, introduction to your platform, your community, those things come with, incentives. A lot of times people will give you interviews in whatever niche you have. You can go to. A lot of times you'll get access to events that people won't normally just allow you to come back and talk to talent or do different things. There's a ton of things that you can do. I like to tell people, start a process, start a journey, and then document the entire thing. So what that means is, if you're going to start a podcast, don't just do the podcast, document your whole process. So write down notes saying, hey, I started trying to get my hosting. I went to so-and-so's website. I noticed that they were a little more expensive, but they gave me more options. However, there was another website that didn't have as many perks, but they were more affordable, especially with me starting out, right? So whatever things you learn along the way, have you a tablet? Just get your tablet for that process of your journey and just document the whole thing. If you don't like writing, take your phone out, do some voice memos, make notes, make tactics, because this is what's going to happen. Once you start documenting your journey along the way, you're going to have something that we call knowledge, that somebody who hasn't started want to know. So then you take all of that content and then you create what we call course material. Course material is nothing but your version of a class on how to get where you are. Then you charge for that. Reasonable, but you charge for that. Now that becomes something that makes you money even when you're not working. You can do course material one time, and then people will constantly invest into what you have going on because it's already done, established, and they can pay you 25, $50, sometimes 100 or more, depending on how extensive you get. Because I've taken course materials and I've helped my clients create course materials where they give you everything, all of their resources, all of the links to the people they know, and it gives you like a full blueprint of how to build what they have. Now, those courses tend to go a little bit more in the thousands and up, but what you save time in, it's worth the money and the investment. So I always want you to be thinking about how you can grow and how you can expand one river into many. Now, I like to shout out to what's going on, Pat, my fellow Full Sail alum on IG. Great musician and scorer and writer and all those things. Pat needs a podcast also. He needs a platform. And I want you to understand and hear me clearly when I say this. I'm very passionate about people getting to where they are supposed to be. Now, a lot of times, and my clients tell me all the time, Lo, you too humble. People don't be knowing what you be doing. And I like it that way, to be honest with you, because I don't do it for people to say, oh, he's this person, he's connected with that person. I love building people. So this is why I'm taking the time to do this. So I want you to be taking notes. I want you to jot this down, because this will be the only free course that I'm giving on this. The next thing you will see from me will be my course material on podcasting, where I'm going to not only teach you, whoever signs up for my courses will be having access directly to me, and I will help you like I do so many of my clients that have gone on to make six figures and doing all kind of amazing things around this world. And I want to see you live your full potential. So back to building your podcast, right? So now that we know where we're going, we know who our audience is. We're starting to think about who wants to partner with me, who would invest in me on this community and this audience that I've created. You can start looking at gear. Now, you have a number of ways to start. You can use your cell phone. Now, using the iPhone or using a cell phone, if it's just you having a conversation, you can get away with that easily. Now, if you want to start taking calls, or if you want to have a co-host or something like that, then you got to start looking at other options, like maybe an audio interface or something that can hook up to your laptop. But if you don't want to go that route, there are some amazing tools by Zoom. Now, take this down because I'm giving y'all these things. Zoom is an audio company that makes amazing recorders for audio. Now, you can get those with, and a lot of times now, if you go to Amazon or you go to B&H Photo, or if you go to sweetwater.com, you can find podcasting kits. Now, what you will find in those kits are microphones. They normally come with everything: microphones, stands, the recorders, and headphones, so you can listen to while you're talking. Now, me, I actually like in-ear headphones because I like to not look like I have headphones, or what we call in audio cans, on my head. Now, when you're going this route, you got to also understand the learning curve with some of these things. Now, I'm going to show you something real quick about what I use. What you're seeing now, IG, I'm sorry, y'all can't see this. If you want to join, you can always go to Facebook, and I'm live on aloysiusballard.com on my page, Aloysius Ballard. Now, for those of you who are looking, what I use, this is called the Rodecaster Pro. Now, as you can see, it has an easy button for me. If I wanted to start recording, I could push that button. It goes red. That lets me know that I am recording. I'm going to stop that. Now, you see, this is my mic that I'm currently speaking on. Now, the Rodecaster allows you to hook this up to your laptop, It also allows you to do it with nothing. So I could produce a podcast with nothing but this machine right here. Now I can have up to 4 microphones. I also have a USB that will, if I'm hooked up to a laptop or something, I can play music or things back through the USB. This is a TRS line, which means that you can hook your phone directly up to this. Let's say I wanted to have call-ins. You can have call-ins from this fader right here. So you could hook a phone up to your Rodecaster Pro and take phone calls from people. This is Bluetooth, which is what I'm actually playing music from my iPad. And you can hear that as I increase it. That's from my iPad. Okay. Now over here you have what they call sound effects. So you can put claps. Now you can make these whatever you want. Now they come with a certain set of sound effects built in that you can just have in there. But all of these triggers that come stock in the Rodecaster itself. It also gives you 4 headphones, just in case for you have 4 guests. Everybody gets their own headphone volume, and then you have what they call like the master or speaker out. Now on this screen, there's a ton of things you can do. This got built-in effects. You can see your levels on all of the mics that or inputs that are coming into the Rodecaster Pro. But it's easy, but at the same time, what you're getting is a machine that takes away a lot of your learning curve. So like I said, the record to start, record to stop, green, red, is very easy. You got built-in sound effects. You got all the stuff built right into it. You got microphone, XLRs, all those things that makes it super easy for you to start podcasting. Now they created this for people to get into podcasting and be at a professional level very easily. Now the Rodecaster Pro is about $500. So this is why I tell you, you got to know what do you get out of your investment. Now, my Rodecaster Pro has already paid for itself. I produce podcasts for other people. So it has already paid for me to have this piece of equipment. Now, what I always do when I start investing in any equipment, the number one thing I always think about is how can I get my money back or my ROI? What will be my return on my investment? You got to think about that. Now, if you're going to be lazy and you just want to do this for a hobby or you just want to do this for fun, this probably ain't the equipment unless you just got the money to that you can make that investment and it don't bother you. I don't know what your pocket's like. I know, I'm just telling you how I get down. I like to keep my money, and if I spend money, I want it to be something that's going to bring me a return on investment. So the Rodecaster Pro is just one option. They have a couple of other devices that are similar that could be a little less expensive. I think they may be around the $299, $300. But, you know, it also goes into if you're going to create a podcast, if you're going to create video, if you're going to create all these things, all of this works together. Because I don't even want to get you into the audio side, but you can take your iPhone, get a tripod, video yourself doing the podcast, and then take that video, right? You can cut it up. And then if the room's quiet, if you got a solid sound where you can maybe even get a lapel that goes to your iPhone. They got a ton of iOS mics and different things now that you can get that plug right into your phone and work. Then you don't have to spend this. You can spend $40 and have a good start. And then you can take the video, post it on YouTube or Facebook, and then you can pull the audio off of that and then use that as the MP3 to post to your podcast hosting. But There's a difference. Now, this is what I'm gonna also tell you, because we talked about sponsorship earlier in the live, right? So when you're talking about sponsors, sponsors want to partner with people who are putting out a polished looking product. Now listen to me. What you may think is polished may not be what your partners think is polished. What you want to be able to do is have a clear visual. You don't want to be looking too dark. Sometimes you see people with shadowy, bright, like their videos are dark. They ain't much lighting, or they don't have all the things that make you want to stay engaged. Now, you want to make sure you're doing all those things. And I always tell people, if you can't afford lighting, here's a great tip. Shoot in the daytime, probably around sunset, where it's not too bright and it's not too dark, and you'll be evenly lit, and then you can be outside. Once again, you got to get something that's going to make sure you get good audio. So invest in either a lapel mic or something that you can hook up to your iPhone or Android and record your audio where it's clear and the video is clear and the lighting is there. Once you do that, you don't need to spend $500 like I did on a device like this. That could get you in the game, and then you can go from there. If you have a Mac, you may be able to just take your iPad and use your laptop camera and record into maybe like iMovie, or maybe record your audio in GarageBand, because those come with your Mac for free. So those are some options. Sometimes you just got to figure out what's around you, or wait, save up, maybe do some side jobs, maybe do a garage sale. You probably got something in your house that you can flip and get rid of and raise the money for the devices you need. But if you cannot do both, start with audio. There's nothing wrong with just starting with audio. A lot of people see people like myself or other creators, and y'all want to jump out and try to match what we do. I've been in production a long time. I've acquired all kind of cameras, all kind of gear, because I'm a producer. You may not be in the same boat that I'm in. You got to figure out where you are and run your race. Don't run my race. That's why they say stay in your lane. So when we come to growing these things, if you listen to these tips, I assure you, by the summer, you could be rolling with your podcast or your show and be doing some great things. So now that we know that we kind of talk about gear, and once again, like I said, I'm putting together a course that'll have links to all of the recommended materials that I suggest, as well as tutorials on how you can use these tools to get your podcast started. Now, if you're still questioning, like, Lo, I hear all this, but I'm just nervous about starting. What do you say to that? Okay, well, I'll say this. If you don't think your story or your voice is something that people want to hear or, enhance, then ask your friends and your loved ones. Just ask them, say, hey, what are some things you enjoy talking to me about? Just get people's feedback. Some people may say, you know what, man, you're so compassionate. You're a very kind person. Like, I think you're funny. I like when you just talk. Or, like with me, I'm naturally an encouraging person. So like I told you earlier, I'm very passionate about seeing people become everything that they should be in life. I like to see people get from where they are to where they're supposed to be. I'm a catalyst for people. So when people connect with me, when people interact with me, I see things in you that you probably hadn't pieced together yet. And I help you see that picture, and I help you grow along the way to get to where you should be. One of my favorite clients is a lady by the name of Dr. Stephanie Barnes Taylor. So Dr. Stephanie Barnes came to me. She was a corporate lawyer, And she used to tell me, she said, I got this idea called Fabulous University, and I want to help women live their fabulous life, right? So when Stephanie, Dr. Barnes, came to me, she was, like I said, making good money. She was corporate lawyer, Harvard background, like she tough. Everybody thought she was crazy, that she wanted to leave that career because it did not make her happy anymore. People thought she was crazy. People thought she was silly for walking away from that kind of wealth and security. But she was like, Lo, I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. I feel like this is where God is leading me to be. And she used to ask me, like, do you think I'm crazy for trying to do this? And from the jump, I told her, tell me why you want to do it. If you can figure out your why, and this is tying into why you should about starting your podcast, about starting your show. I told her, if you can tell me your why, I'll see the vision of where and how to get you where you want to be. Now, we started out shooting all of the things that she wanted to shoot in the beginning. And a lot of that stuff was cool. But I told her, I said, you're trying to move forward into something new by doing what you did to be a corporate lawyer. Now, listen to me. Sometimes we want to go a new direction, but we still want to do the things that we are comfortable in, that makes us secure. If you're going to jump into a new venture, if you're going to jump into a new experience, have you ever jumped off the top of the playground? What does it feel like when you let go of something that you know is securing you in life? That top of that monkey bars, top of that swing, when you let go, you know that bubbly feeling you get in your stomach is called flight. That little unsecurity, that little thing that you get. Your body knows that there is nothing holding us at this point. There is no security holding you. But guess what? When you land, your body adjusts and goes back to being wherever you are. This is what I'm telling you. A lot of y'all have the ability to start something new, but you're trying to hold on to what you're used to instead of being confident in jumping. When Dr. Barnes jumped, when I told her, if you're going to go in this direction, you got to go all in. We got to do something new. We got to introduce people to somebody they never seen before. So she cut her hair. She changed her look. She went all in. And it was at that moment things began to line up for her. Now she's spoken at the Vatican. She's been all over the world. She's she's got the corporate C-suite. She's living the Fabulous University life. And people can, they call her all over the world to speak because now she's documented that process and that journey and people can see it. So now the next woman that wants to do what she did knows you got the map because you're living that life. A lot of you right now have experiences, good or bad. Some of you have survived things that nobody thought you could come out of. Some of you have stories and, skill sets that you're sitting on that somebody needs to learn from what you know, but you're afraid to jump. So starting a podcast is not just buying the gear. It's not just having the plan. It's not just having the will to do it and sponsors and all these things. It also comes with your ability to say, I'm not afraid to jump and to feel that uncertainty for a minute. But when I land where I'm supposed to be, we're going to readjust and we're going to run. And that's what you get when you partner up with someone who can see where you are going and where you're meant to be versus people who speak doubt in your mind. So when you're doing these things, this is what I'm telling you before I close this thing out. I'm developing a course that is going to show you step by step how to get from one place to the other. The biggest thing I've learned in my time as a producer is that it's not always about you. Sometimes you got to give restraint to yourself and give freedom to somebody else to help produce the picture that you need to get. It's like going into a surgery room or an OR. For you to sometimes get healed, that means you got to be, you ever notice what happens when somebody goes in surgery? They put them under. Think about that. Because if we had you awake and with the ability to have a say-so in some of the things that need to be done to you, you would flinch. You would grab hands and stop people from helping you get to the place you need to be. And that's what people like myself do. We put you under and we help take out all the things that don't need to be there. We take out all the things that stop you from being in the condition that you need to be in for you to be healthy and for you to be whole in the person that you need to be. So, once again, to recap, make a plan. Know who your audience is. Know the things that you need to invest in. How much do I have? How much can I sacrifice? What am I willing to sacrifice? Am I willing to go in my garage and clean out some things and sell some things that I don't need or I rarely use that money to invest in something that could bring me more wealth, more income, more value? And then when you start doing that, start looking at who can I partner with? Who can I build a relationship with as I grow my new venture, my new contact? Like, who would be interested in my platform? And then broker those deals with them. Once you start doing that, then you can say, all right, well, how do I capture this? If I can't do video and audio, maybe I can do one and then start. And then once you do that, you can go into launching your new venture. Now, one thing I want to tell you, just for those who are saying, well, Lo, you didn't say how we can put it out. I'm going to give you a couple websites that I suggest. I love Anchor.fm for podcast hosting. Spotify has made it very easy for you to upload and do things on their platform. It's a lot of podcasts on there. Apple Music is a little more tricky, so I normally suggest that you either get a host or somebody that can help you distribute your podcast. Now, some of them are free, but some of them are a small fee, like for the year. It's not super expensive. Not even maybe $40, something like that for the year. But the free options are awesome. Castbox is one. A lot of things that's out there. But start. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Start. If you're curious about how to get started even more, like I said, I got a course material coming out. It's not just information, it's access to me, where you'll be able to be coached. We'll be able to have these kind of, now this is surface. I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you. I tell people all the time, you cannot be around me and we not create something. If you ain't about creating nothing, if you ain't about growing, you can't be around me. You're gonna have to go. Now, if you about changing your life, changing your direction, growing, producing some stuff, making something happen, then you can come hang out. I fool with you. But if you ain't, man, listen. If you ain't about that action, I don't know. Hey, I ain't gonna tell you about you. I'm just telling you what about me. I can't be around nobody like that. We got to be doing something. But if you willing to be in that community, if you want to do that, I got some stuff coming up. And I mean, like, man, we're going to be giving opportunities on the BEPS network for you to just be able to launch. We're developing the app right now. We're going to be on Apple TV, Fire Stick, Roku, all the phones, tablets. It's a beautiful thing, man. And I'm here to help creators create. That's what I'm doing. And I would love for you to be able to get in, grow, see your business. If you aren't following the BEPS Network, I'm asking you, go follow. It's BEPS Network on all platforms. Just go check it out. Give it a like, give it a follow. Because what I want to do is use that platform to give other creators the shine that you won't have to go to LA for. All the creators are going to keep 100% of ownership of their content. We just helping people get a start, to grow, and to prosper, man. I hope you enjoyed this live, man. I really got on here, like I said, because a lot of people keep messaging me about how to start, how to grow, and I don't ever want to hold people back from like prospering and doing things that they should do in life. But if you want a deeper dive into how to do this, if you want access to me, if you want access to the coaching and all of that, that's coming with the course materials that we have, that we're currently producing. And be on the lookout. I'm doing more of this kind of stuff. If y'all have topics that y'all want me to cover, or is just some questions that you may have, I love answering anything I possibly can, man. I have some buddies, I have some friends that I've come into contact now with that have taken this information I'm giving y'all, applying it, and I'm telling you it works. I need to get my boy Trey Ward back on here. Trey has recently launched his production company, even more. He's getting clients, growing his business, and one thing I can say about Trey is that he listens well and he applies what we talk about. If you're coachable, I'm telling you, you'll miss a whole bunch of headache in business and whatever it is you're doing. So be coachable. Everybody got a coach. I got a coach. I got a couple coaches, and I get my feelings hurt all the time. They tell me, "Lo, you giving away too much." They probably gonna be fussing at me about this video. "Lo, I can't believe you was on there all that time giving away all that value." But I love y'all, man. I want to see you do well. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I am. If you know me, you know I care about people, man, and that's why I'm here. Don't hesitate to reach out, to ask me a question. I promise you, I may not get to you when you want me to get to you because I'm busy. I'm gonna tell you that. I'm gonna be honest, but I will get to you. So once again, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all for spending some time with me. Shout out to the loyalty crew, Jacqueline, who else? My Tam, all my folks, man. You know, if you rock with me, some of y'all really rock with me, man. Matter of fact, we got some loyalty crew shirts coming out from I Got It Made. We're gonna get I Got It Made to get them out. So people that fool with me on a regular basis, I know who you are. I got something for you coming. Okay. So until next time, man, it's your boy Lo. I'm gonna turn this music up and we're gonna fade on up out of here, man. Until next time, stay safe. Wear your mask because I want you to be here. Wear your mask, man. And until next time, man, I get up with you. Peace. Boss lady.